हाँ जी, मैं स्टार्ट करूँ?
Yes, sir, we are live. Start.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. I take this opportunity on behalf of the Organizing Committee, Ramanujan College, to give a warm welcome to our esteemed speaker of the day, Dr. Wasini Pandey, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for accepting our invitation. Dr. Wasini Pandey is specialized in mountain ecology. He is having 22 years of experiences of teaching and research in University of Delhi. He teaches geography of Himalaya and had completed research project on atmospheric hazard sustainability and vulnerability assessment for livelihood security in mid-altitude region of Western Himalaya. He has received British Council International Collaboration Project between University of Delhi and University of Wat Ispa, UK. He is executive member of International Geoscience Education Organization. He is member of Executive Council of Institute of Indian Geographers. Dr. Pandey is executive external international member of the advisory board of ARU Advisory Board, University of Free State, Cuba, Cuba campus, South Africa. Thank you so much, sir, once again, and over to you, sir.
Thank you so much. First of all, I would like to thank Ramanujan College, especially Dr. Alok Pandey ji, SC member, Delhi University, and all the faculty members. And I welcome all the colleagues. We are going to interact today. And I'd like to request Sachin ji, could you please able the screen sharing? Sachin ji?
Yes, sir.
Sahil sir, screen sharing करा दीजिए sir.
Screen sharing, please.
I hope, sir, it is. Please check.
Yeah, thank you. So, I'm going to discuss socioeconomic and ecological aspects of mountain environments. And I'll focus over the Indian Himalaya. Friends, many of you have been on the mountains and you have experienced the mountain ecosystem, society of the mountain, people of the mountain. Today, I'm sure after this discussion, presentation and lecture, you will have a different perspective regarding the mountain. You have a different thought about the mountain. We common people, what we know about the mountain, the big structure of the rocks, having a lot of forest, snow, glacier, etc. But when we see, in fact, mountain, apart from geophysical structure, mountain is also a divine structure. Mountain is the source of livelihood. Mountain is the source of human civilization. And mountain is the source of sustainability. So from civilization to sustainability, all these aspects of the mountain we will discuss today, and you will realize that what is in fact, the importance of the mountain for half of the world population. Almost 51% of the world population surviving, particularly because of the sources of the Himalaya, and particularly for the Indian Himalaya. Friends, we'll see that 67% of the population of the Asia continent, and that is approximately 50% of the world population depends on the resources of the Himalaya. And Himalaya is the best example of the socio-economic environmental interaction between the highland and the lowland. So today we'll discuss in detail the highland-lowland interaction, highland-lowland theory. It is a social theory, it is economic theory, it is ecological theory, highland-lowland theory. Resources of the highland and resources of the lowland, they are complementary to each other. We'll come to detail. First of all, we come to some preliminary information. We talk about Himalaya. So we see this is the Google image of the Himalaya, and you can find all the way from Pamir North to the eastern Himalayan syntax, approximately 2,900 kilometers. This region is the third largest glacial region of the world after Antarctic pole, that is called South Pole, Arctic pole, that is called North Pole. So we have North Pole, we have South Pole. Now Himalayas are considered as third pole. The cryosphere, the largest cryosphere outside the pole, exists on the Himalaya. Because of the largest cryosphere outside the poles exist on the Himalaya, therefore Himalayas are designated, known as third pole. In the Montreal meeting of the 2012, this concept of the third pole were much discussed and elaborated. And really, this third pole is not only because of its length and width. Friends, you can imagine what are the glacial areas on this third pole. As per report of the NASA, 1996, there were 15,000 glaciers on the Himalaya. 15 glaciers, no doubt, because of the global warming, climate change, climate variability. Himalayan glaciers are much affected and now they have become vulnerable. But still, the high altitude glaciers are intact. High altitude glaciers are least affected. Even today, there are more than 8,000 glaciers on the Himalaya. And these 8,000 glaciers feed millions of the rivers, headwater regions, draining out from the headwater to the lowland. And friends, you can realize the sustainability of the Himalayan ecosystem is crucial for the livelihood of about 1.3 billion people in Asia in general, and for the local community in particular. Himalayan ecosystem is fragile and diverse, no doubt. And it includes over 51 million people who practice hill agriculture, and they all depends on the Himalayan ecosystem, that they are also highly vulnerable. So, looking at Himalayan glaciers, and then we find that rivers draining out at a centrifugal pattern. Centrifugal pattern of the river. Please, I would like to mention here, this is a very important slide I'd like to share with you. And you will see all around the centrifugal pattern, rivers are draining out. Rivers are draining out in all the directions. It's draining towards north, south, east, west, centrifugal pattern. And it may be River Ganga, Indus, Brahmaputra. It's called Indo-Brahma. River Yangtze, Sekong, Mekong, Chindwin, Irrawaddy, Salwin. So back to the Indus, Sardarya, Amudarya, Tarim Basin. All these rivers are draining out in different directions. And you know that right from ancient civilization like Indus Valley civilization, Tarim Basin civilization, Yangtze civilization, Salwin, Chindwin civilization, till date, present civilization, Indo-Brahma civilization, Gangetic civilization, all these ancient to modern civilizations, right from the livelihood to sustainability, all these civilizations are based on the drainage system, river, water coming from the Himalayas. This is the best example of the highland-lowland interaction. Glaciers on the highland, water on the highland, and civilization in the lowland. This is a unique combination of highland, lowland. Each and every resources of the Himalaya has come down. It's come to the plain. The soil, all the way from the rocks, boulders, cobbles, pebbles, all the sands come all the way to the plain and develop the Bhabar, Tarai, Bangar, Khadar, Delta. Friends, Bhabar, Tarai, Bangar, Khadar, Delta, all these features are the formation in the plain region, but the materials coming from the highland. So material of the highland, sustainability in the lowland. This way, you can find the people, economy, resources. All these resources are interexchangeable between the highland and the lowland. And this way, it develops the highland-lowland theory. And today, we'll go detail about this physical theory, economic theory, social theory, and ecological theory. You can see this is the Ganga plain, west is the Indus plain, east is the Brahmaputra plain. So altogether it is called Indo-Brahma plain. And in particularly Ganga and Brahmaputra plain, which jointly form Padma Meghna plain. Friends, this is the highest drainage density plain in the world. Highest densely populated plain in the world. And this is the best example of the affluent plain. Affluent plain is a kind of plain where the drainage density is high and the amount of water, humidity increases towards the delta, towards the end of the plain. So this kind of plain is called affluent plain, where there's affluent material, there's affluent water, there's affluent nutrients in the soil, highly fertile soil. is the reason that more than 1,500 person per square kilometer people are able to survive in Bangladesh, in Bihar, West Bengal, in the lower Ganga plain, lower Brahmaputra plain. This is the high level of fertility. Three intensive crops in a year. This gives resources in the lowland, materials of the highland. So highland to lowland. And affluent plain, you can experience as a layman. As a layman, I would like to mention you, if you travel in eastern Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, West Bengal, in Assam, you can drive your car, your bike, you can travel by train, and you will see that before a kilometer, you'll find a bridge. Even less than 1 kilometer, we'll find a bridge, a small bridge, large bridge, big size of bridge. So that indicates the high density of the drainage. Rivers, rivulets, streams, the large number. That makes the affluent plain. And this affluent plain provide high density of population. Friends, I'd like to mention here, you can see this is the density population. And you can see the areas like Indo-Brahma plain, the coastal area of China, Bangladesh, Tarim Basin, Salween Chindwin Basin. These river basins having highest density of population in the world. And 67% of the population of the Asia continent and exactly 50% of the global population, 50% of the world population survive due to the fresh water of the Himalaya, due to the resources of the highland. This is the reason that now one more terminology I would like to share with you today. Because of the 50% of the world population surviving due to the resources of the Himalaya, therefore, Himalayas are also known as human equator. So Himalayas are third pole. Himalayas are human equator. Because exactly equal portion, half of the world population survive due to the resources of the Himalayan highland. And this is the reason that now it has become very, very important to understand the geomorphic features, ecological features, economic features, social features of the languages of the Himalayan landscape. Only then you can understand the divine landscapes, divine highland, how we pray from the God to receive our happiness, to receive our longevity, to receive a good thing for our family, a good job, kind of goodness in our life. We pray to the God and we receive from the God. Similarly, Himalayas behaves like a God. It gives us water, it gives us soil, it gives us air, all the essential commodities of the life to livelihood. From life to livelihood, livelihood to sustainability, all we derive from the Himalaya. So material of the highland, livelihood of the lowland. This way, we'll find these attributes of the Himalayan ecosystem services. What are the important points which we do perceive as an asset for us? divine resources, relief and physiography. Relief and physiography of the Himalaya are the best resource for the country. In the absence of the Himalaya, Indian subcontinent could have become as a desert. It is the Himalaya which check the monsoon wind and give rain to the India and Indian subcontinent. India is a land of monsoon because of Himalaya. Otherwise, monsoon wind could have been attracted in the Central Asia, in the Tarim Basin, in the Fergana Basin, in the lowland of Fergana, the lowest air pressure in the world. That could have been the central point of the monsoon. It is because of the Himalaya. Its relief, its physiography, its control, having break, check over the monsoon, and more all the monsoon have rain in India. So the rainwater, then ablation water, melting of glacier known as ablation. So rainwater and ablated water both form Himalayan drainage. It forms Himalayan geohydrology. And each and every drop of water from the highland drain to the lowland. Each and every particles of the rocks move from the highland, get deposited in the lowland as alluvial. Vegetation and the environment. It is the Himalaya only which is having alpine glacier. And one geographical fact I'd like to mention, colleagues, at this point, you must have learned geography in the school, maybe in the colleges, but what I'm going to discuss today about this line, the third line, vegetation and environment. Please listen carefully. This will be very useful to you while you will be going to teaching to the students. India is located in a tropical latitudes. Tropical latitudes. From equator, close to equator, 6-degree latitude near the Andaman Nicobar Islands, to 37 degrees 6 latitude north of Jammu Kashmir. So it's a typical tropical country. But this is because of the Himalaya, Himalayan relief, Himalayan physiography. India having, it is the only country in the world. It is the only country in the world because of the Himalaya, India having all the climatic features of the world. A.D. Condole, 1786. In 1786, A.D. Condole was the first climatologist who had divided world climatic region on the basis of thermal region. Megathermal, xerophytes, mesothermal, microthermal, hecistophytes. And in 1891, Vladimir Koppen was the first plant physiologist and become climatologist later on, who divided world climatic regions into 15 categories, 5 macro region, 15 meso region. Friends, I'd like to mention here, all those categories of the climatic regions are found in India. Climate are determined either by latitude or by altitude. Unfortunately, in India, we have both. We have 8-degree, 37-degree latitudes. If you cover the Nicobar from 6-degree to 37-degree latitude, and from 0 altitude to more than 8,000 meters of the altitude. Therefore, all those climatic conditions which are found across the globe, they are found in India also. Right from equator to the pole, those climatic conditions which are found, that is found from Kanyakumari to the Gangotri, from coastal area to the glacial areas, third pole. So, therefore, we have all the temperate, cheed, pine, alpine, tundra, taiga. These words is very common, you must have heard that. The alpine, tundra, taiga, these climatic conditions, these natural vegetations are found in India, and that is only on the Himalaya, on the mountain. And these resources are resources of the day. And you can imagine what is going on today. World is suffering from the COVID-19 pandemic. And India also suffering from a great extent to the COVID-19. But we have such a large abode of the reservoir of the herbs and medicinal plants on the Himalaya. And right, not only today, it's not only the era of the Baba Ramdev, not the era of the Patanjali manufacturer. Even at the time of the epoch of Ramayana Mahabharata, we have several evidences of the herbs and medicines of the Himalaya. And recently, during the lockdown, you have seen Ramayana epoch. Ramayana. During Ramayana, you have heard, you have listened that there's a war between Lakshman and Meghnath. Meghnath had Shakti on Lakshman, and Lakshman became fainted. Then Sukhen Vaidya orders that it is Sanjeevani Booty on the Himalaya, which can save the life of the Lakshman. And then Hanuman moved to the Himalaya, and he saw that such a large area, similar kind of vegetation are giving a wonderful light. He became confused. He could not recognize that which one is Sanjeevani Booty. So, dekha sail na ausad chinha, sahasa giri uthaye kapilina. He took an entire mountain on the hand. So, right from Ramayana to all the Indian Vedas, cultures, you find everywhere the references of the Himalaya. Therefore, Himalaya has become the divine nature for the people of Indian subcontinent. Even before the Ramayana, if you go to the Shiv Puran, Sati jo tadi daksha griha deha janmi jai Himachal geha. Parvati ke roop mein. In the name of Parvati, reincarnation. So, it's all kinds of environmental vegetation, they're all divine input in the mindset of the Indian people and society. And we realize this. Even today, the Neelkanthi is a kind of herb from which there is the best medicine of the sugar. The kind of all the product of the, to increase the immune from the coronavirus, there's a number of medicines coming from the Himalaya. So, relief and physiography, drainage and geohydrology, vegetation and environment, then today, present importance of the geographical basis of Indian states, federalism. Geographical base of the federalism. It is called Arunachal because it is Arunachal. The state called Himachal because it is Himachal. State called Uttarakhand because it is Uttarakhand. So many names of the Indian states based on the geographical fact of the Himalaya. So Himalaya provides geographical basis of the geofederalism, Indian state. So land of thunderbolt, Himalayan kingdom, so many things which we have learned is all because of the Himalayan relief and geography. Passes and geopolitics. Passes and geopolitics. So the geopolitical importance of the Himalaya, I believe, my dear friend, my dear colleague, you must have learned at least two names in your mind. You will never forget. One is Doklam, other is Galwan. You will never forget these two names. The media has given million times these names, Galwan ke Balwan and Doklam. These passes are the core of the geopolitics of the South Asia. And now, the South Asian geopolitical hotspot had become the epicenter of the politics in the world. The Chinese isolation at the global scale is because of the Galwan. So you can understand better way what are the importance of the geopolitics of the valleys and passes of the Himalaya. Karakoram Pass, all the way, Aghil Pass, Karatak Pass, Banihal, Burzil, Zojila, Niti, Mana, all these passes have been such an important, strategic importance of the geopolitics. And many places, these passes give India as an upper hand. Upper hand, because we control from the top. It gives strategic importance to the country. Then, population and society. Friends, we have a number of marginal people. We have number of unique societies on the mountains, which are acute ethnic example. Therefore, unique tribal community, population, and society on the mountain, and this provide all these parameters which we have discussed above. They provide cultural and tourism potential. Cultural and tourism potential. Friends, tourism now today is the largest source of early income, and the Himalayas represent one of the most important sites of the tourism. And I will discuss detail. We go to the tourism as a source of economy. Then we will find, I will describe further how the mountain tourism includes all physical tourist ecosystems, coastal ecosystem, desert ecosystem, urban ecosystem, and forest ecosystem. All these ecosystem services prevail on the mountain itself. Therefore, mountains are the largest source of the ecotourism and energy and power potential. Everybody knows about Tihri Dam, Bakra Nangal Dam. What's going on? More than thousands of the hydropower projects, more than thousands of hydropower projects on the Himalaya. Coming from Arunachal Pradesh, Siang Subansiri project to the western, DBS, Dulhasti, Salal, all these projects, Bagaliar, right from east to west, thousands of the hydropower. See again, Highland-lowland, hydropower. Hydropower where? On the highland. But energy come to the lowland. Power come to the lowland. Energy being produced in Tihri Dam, in Uttarakhand. Metro is running in Delhi. This is the highland-lowland interaction. And finally, friends, agriculture and animal husbandry. Agriculture and animal husbandry. So all the agricultural products, all the animal husbandry of the mountain come to the lowland. Friends, whether it is the horticulture, apples of Jammu Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh. Again, I'd like to mention here, the largest producer of apple is Jammu Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, but the largest apple market lies in Delhi, Azadpur Mandi. Gujar, Gaddis, Bakarwal, Bhotiyas, Lepcha, Tharus, these are the people who are pastoralists, they are nomadic herders. These nomads provide sheep and goats to the plain. Animals are reared on the mountain, and maximum number of goats are sacrificed on Bakrid in Delhi. They all the way come from mountain to the plain. So this is the detail. It's relevance of the highland, lowland interaction, and with these interactions, our discussion will round around economy versus ecology, apiculture versus deforestation, urbanization, basis of the land use change, immense land use change because of urbanization, globalization versus local issues, losing the indigenous culture due to globalization, dependency versus self-reliance, and the last but not the least, development versus disaster. All these issues from the perspective of the society, economy, ecology, we'll go detail and discuss about this. Now, from this point, we will move in three components. First, economic component, then social component, then ecological components. First of all, economic components. Economy. So mountain economy feeds lowland economy. Materials of the highland, employment in the lowland. Materials of the highland, consumption in the lowland. So horticulture. Horticulture, animal husbandry, pisciculture, the best quality of fish, which is called trout fish, trout. Best quality of trout fish are found in the Himalayas. Pisciculture, poultry farming, tourism, service sector, also laborer. These are the economic base of the highland. And also, it comes from highland to the economic base in the lowland. So economic, highland, lowland. And few examples I'd like to share with you. The example is, you can see, there are two photographs. Two photographs, one of the Western Himalaya and one, upper one is the Western Himalaya and lower one is the Eastern Himalaya. This example I'd like to give you. The upper one, Western Himalaya. Western Himalaya is the largest producer of apple. It is the fruit basket of India. Valleys of Kashmir, valleys of Himachal are the fruit basket of India. And friends, again, I'd like to mention you that these apple are produced from the Jammu Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, and see the lines of the truck. All the way, they are coming from the highland. These are coming from this highland, all the way coming to the lowland. From highland to lowland. Largest producer of apple is Jammu Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh. But the largest apple market is Azadpur Mandi in the Asia continent, in Delhi. So product of the highland, marketing in the lowland. Similarly, see the lower photograph is the Darjeeling, the best quality of tea in the world. Darjeeling, North Bengal, and Assam, largest producer of tea in the world. And this tea produced, and the market is Kharioli, it is Delhi. It is the CBD, Central Business District of Delhi, is the largest market of the tea in Asia continent. So, this is, I hope you can understand the highland-lowland interaction. So, horticulture on the highland, and some specific production, right from the apple to saffron, tea states, and also number of coarse grains product from the jhum cultivation. These highland production all the way come to the lowland, and apart from horticulture, we have large number of goats and sheep. From the alpine region. Bugyal, the local terminology called Bugyal, is the pasture known as meadows, alpine meadows. Alpine meadows are the source of Angora, Pashmina, so many varieties of goats and sheep. And these, so the goats and sheep are not only important for the meat production, not only the nutrient supply, they're also the source of the best quality of the wool. Angora Pashmina wool, globally known for its market, with the fineness, its quality. Angora, Pashmina. All these sheep and goats finally, ultimately, come to the plain. And as I told you, the maximum number of sheep and goats which are sacrificed on the date of Bakrid, coming very soon in this month, in Delhi, and all the way come from alpine zone of the Himalaya. So these are Gujar and Bakarwal. These are Gaddis, transhumans, Bakarwal, and Lepchas. The people, all the rain, feed to the rain people. Poultry and pisciculture. The best quality of poultry, the best quality of pisciculture, also practiced on the mountain. And all the way, it comes to supply to the plain region. Then, come to the, apart from horticulture, animal husbandry, pisciculture, poultry, now, the most important source of income, employment, livelihood, economic development of the mountain is tourism development. Tourism. And again, I'd like to mention you again that tourists from the lowland, materials of the highland, people of the lowland, features of the highland, that together people of the plain come to the mountain. This way, there's a tourism development. And now, at this junction, I'd like to mention you that the tourism development on the mountain is such a unique. And with this photograph, you can understand the words which I'm going to explain with you. The ecotourism based on the natural assets. So what is the nature? It could be a coastal plain, beach, like Goa Beach, Kalangut Beach, Miramar Beach. It could be a desert, Rajasthan desert. It could be a forest like Andaman Nicobar. It could be a city like Simla and Manali. Really, friends, all the ecosystem which prevail in the desert, in the coastal areas, in the urban areas, in the forest areas, all together they are found on the mountain. It covers the beautiful snow-covered areas, and is the human tendency as a layman. When we go to the mountain, we get tired riding up and up on the hills, but all our tiredness moves down when we see the glacier. When we see the glacier, there is an inner happiness comes in our mind when we see the glacier. So glacier, then find the alpine tundra, alpine taiga, so forest ecosystem. We have waterfalls, springs, we have lakes, big size of lake like Chandratal Lake, Pangong Lake. These lakes, Bhimtal, Nainital lakes, and see, along the lake side, it seems that a coastal ecosystem. Lake, desert, and so to the areas, regions, so many places like Leh, Ladakh, in Himachal Pradesh, Spiti Valley, Lahaul Valley, it represents a desert ecosystem. So all kinds of ecosystem services which are found in the plain also, all these are found on the Himalaya. Therefore, Himalayas are the ultimate source of the tourism development. And lots of tourists, lot of adventure, lot of tourism develop on the Himalaya. Friends, you might have experienced such a lovely scenic beauty when you go for the paragliding. This could not be possible anywhere else in the country except the Himalaya. The tourism support keeps immense movement of the people and urbanization on the highland. We see the Manali town, which developed by clearing the forest, say development with disaster. Urbanization with the land use change, forest area become urban area. And such a building inside the Manali, it appears that we're in Chandni Chowk, not the mountain. Such a huge urbanization. And one of the example I'd like to say there's some case study of the tourism which I had done in Manali. This is Manali town. 1975 to 2004, see the number of tourists coming to the Manali town. So there is a 1,000 times increase. Today in Manali, there are more than 1 lakh population coming every day during summer season. This year, due to pandemic of corona, this year tourism was controlled. But every year, more than 1 lakh people coming to the Manali every year. And this is the reason that these over-tourism creating a lot of environmental concern. Environmental concern issues because of tourism development. And now, from economy, we come to the social profile. Social profile, almost 50 million population on the Himalaya. And 450 million in the base of the Himalaya, Babar Tarai. And Himalayan people divided into many ethnic groups, and all the way they are Aryans, Mongolites, Negrites, all kinds of people are found there in Himalaya. In the west, there are more Mediterranean type of people, Paleo-Mediterranean to the advanced Mediterranean. And while moving to the Tibetan region, northeast region, we have more and more Mongolites people. And in some foothills areas, also we have Negrites people. So all the way from Tibet, China, Nepal, Bhutan, all these areas have the more or less similar cultural background. The Himalayan communities are divided into two parts. One is the urban communities. Those communities which are connected with the road, they become urban because of accessibility. Because of accessibility, the tourism development has taken place. It could be a Mussoorie, it could be Manali, Kullu, Dalhousie, Khajiari, Simla, any place, including Gangtok, Darjeeling. So tourist places, Kashmir Valley, where there is connectivity with the roads, railways, airways. Those areas become hotspot of tourism. But there are extreme geomorphic features where construction of roads are not possible. Therefore, those areas are marginal areas, inaccessible areas. Inaccessibility, friends, because of inaccessibility, there is social needs. Social needs, a typical isolated society, closed society. They don't know there is anything beyond their boundary. It's a closed society. So therefore, due to geographical isolation, there is inaccessibility, there is social needs. And all these features I'd like to show you the community which are inaccessible, marginal, social needs. They are Gaddi, Gujar, Bakarwal, Lahula, Bhotia, Jonsari, Lepcha, Sherpa, all these communities, they practice transhumance. Their source of livelihood are the sheep and goats. Transhumance, Gaddi, Gujar, Bakarwal, Lahula, Bhotias, Tharus, they are in the western Himalaya. And Bhutia, Lepcha, Sherpa, found in the eastern Himalaya. Large number of communities. And you see, this is the Sawad village of Uttarakhand. Deval block of Uttarakhand. In front, this is the Sawad village. And you see the top of the Sawad, bottom of the Sawad, marginal areas, extreme marginality. Because of marginality, it is very difficult to develop road here. So this is inaccessible, having social needs. Few decades earlier, the road developed, and due to development of the road, due to the high mountain features, acclimatization, physique of the body, coping with hypoxia by birth. Very important point, friends. I'd like to remind you, attract your point here. They have adopted, acclimatized the condition of hypoxia right from the birth. Therefore, they are able to fight at any altitude. And I'd like to mention you that the mountain warriors which are in the Galwan, which are in the Doklam, and other many places of the eastern sector to the western sector of Himalayan LOC and LSC. Friends, this Sawad village, I'd like to mention this name, SAVAD, Sawad village, having 150 households, and Sawad village has given 250 country from one village. This is Sawad village. Each and every household have 1 or 2 or 3 army men per household. Sawad village. This is the attributes. And this is the reason that small state, Uttarakhand, small state. If you compare with UP, Bihar, Maharashtra, Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu, Andhra, Karnataka, Uttarakhand is a very small state. But you know, see the contribution of Uttarakhand to the Indian Army. Not only battalion, it is the regiment, Garhwal regiment, Kumaun regiment, Gorkha regiment, such a number of regiments which are typically from Uttarakhand. This is because of the acclimatization, adaptation of the low barometric conditions, hypoxia. This way, this local people, their livelihood based on the traditional practices related to agriculture. And they do practice terrace farming, bunding, terrace farming, mixed cropping, weed management, water diversion for irrigation, farm manures, local crop varieties, kodo, mandua, sayara, chadiara. These are certain crops which are immune booster. And now, large market from mountain to the plain coming out of these local products. Mulching, religious and cultural mechanism, because people who live more difficult condition, they remember God more. That's why people of the mountain, they're highly religious, believe in the God. Every village have a god and goddess. Nagadevta, Brahma Devta, Vishnu Devta. Every village have their god. Beliefs. local, urban society, rural society. Friends, we have discussed urban. See the rural society, rural house, strong social bonding, very, very strong social bonding. Not only neighbors, rather every people knows everyone of the entire village. Such a strong bonding. Now, I hope, am I audible? Can anyone speak, please?
Sir, yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Audible,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, there's one question to you. And this question, listen carefully. Identify this tree. इस पेड़ को पहचानिए. Look the leaves. इसके पत्तों को देखिए. Look the leaves very carefully. Identify this tree. Can anyone answer to my question? Anyone, if you tell you the exact name, what is the name of this tree? I'll give you the gift of the package of the tourism. You travel and you stay on the mountain. I will sponsor you. Anyone can identify this tree? Friends, dear colleagues, you cannot identify. You cannot identify. I can challenge you.
Okay, you cannot identify.
Sorry to interrupt you, sir. Some responses we have from the participant side.
Yes, we'll discuss.
One is
We'll
saying
discuss.
this is apple, burger, no idea, sir. Nijara, apple, something like that, sir.
Okay, now listen carefully. Listen carefully. Why I challenge you? Because I know you cannot tell me. You cannot tell me because it is not that you are unknown. You have little knowledge. No, we are colleagues. We have similar sound of knowledge. We are similar people. Only that I am little elder than you. Otherwise, same knowledge, same experience. We are all together. Why I challenge you? Because this is not a tree. This is not a tree. If it is a tree, you can identify easily. This is not a tree. Therefore, you cannot identify. See carefully. I'm looking at the cursor. These leaves, you can see, but this is a tree wearing shoes. Full pant and shoes. This is not a tree. This is a man, a person carrying fodder from forest to the household. This is the livelihood. This is the local livelihood, mountain livelihood. Women carry load of the fodder and fuels more than their own weight. This girl is doing MSc in Lambagaon College in Uttarakhand. Before going to college, she went in the forest early morning, chops the fodder and fuel, carry all the way more than 5 kilometers from forest to the house, village. This is the typical livelihood, local livelihood of the mountain people, mountain community. And these mountain community, local livelihoods, economy, society. Now, we'll move to the third sector, and towards the ending of the discussion is the socio-economic we have done. Come to the ecological, environmental, ecological. And I have used one term. that is marginality. Friends, please look, the houses built on such a narrow slope in this photograph, and see the marginality and inaccessibility of this hanging bridge in the air. Such extreme marginality, extreme inaccessibility. These geomorphic conditions have made them social niche. And I would like to tell you some brief geographical fact that in the mountain, why there are extreme marginality, extreme inaccessibility. This is because of the high altitude and large, deep gorge and canyons. High altitude on one side, a number of folds and faults, and you know very well that Himalayas are young fold mountains. So number of folds and number of faults. These folds and faults provide unique geomorphic features and relief. Due to this relief, there are more than thousands of the faults in Himalaya. There are number of faults in Himalaya. These faults are the source of seismic energy. And this is the reason that there are severe earthquakes in the Himalayas. Because of the seismic energy which generated from these faults. And these faults were formed at the time of formation of Himalaya. At the time of formation of Himalaya. And these faults later on fills up with the water and develops the roots, river. Faults later on filled up with water and form the drainage. You can find Satluj River, Beas River, Chenab River. All these rivers are draining through the faults. And these faults converted to river basin. And if you go to the mountain, go to any region of the mountain, Jammu Kashmir, Himachal, Uttarakhand, or Eastern Himalaya, everywhere you will find that roads have been constructed parallel to the rivers. And you can see the roads, see this is the map, figure of the roads, and they compare with the rivers. Rivers and roads are parallel, and these are parallel to the fault. So along with the fault, there are rivers. Along with the fault, there are roads, and roads are constructed due to slope cutting. Therefore, there are number of landslides. It is a specific feature of the Himalaya. These landslides pose threat to the livelihood. Friends, see this photograph. I have taken this photograph long back in 1995 when I was doing PhD. This is a road between Kullu and Manali in Kullu district. And see the exposed slope, more than 200-meter vertical wall. And this is National Highway 21 connecting Chandigarh to Leh, NS 21, and there is a truck passing on this road. Friends, imagine at the place of truck, if there could have been a bus filled up with passengers. And see the size of truck and the size of boulders are almost same. And It happened in the same 1995, same place, same place. There was a severe landslides, and 60 people killed, buried in this landslide, and all the 60 people killed, died. But these disasters, these risks, threats, hazards cannot demoralize the people of the plain to come to the mountain. Even after this landslide, roads were reconstructed, and then people moved again. People moved again on the mountain. And friends, at this point, I'd like to explain this slide. This is Marhi, a place close to the Rohtang Pass. Rohtang Pass is a tourism hub, epicenter of tourism during the month of April, May, and June, July. During summer vacation, May and June, Manali is filled up. And you can see there was a small landslide, the traffic was closed, and you cannot count the number of cars all the way. Not only the site you are looking, this was more than 15 kilometers long all the way. Wherever you can see, these are all standing cars and vehicles along the road. 15 kilometers. This tourism attraction on the Himalaya, because of its physiographic, its climatic, cultural, social, economic attraction. Friends, now we'll move towards the conclusion that the role of climate change on Himalayan ecosystem and livelihood. Some ecological perspective I'd like to tell you that no doubt the duration of snowfall and the size of the glaciers are reducing. Definitely, I would like to mention you that they more than 10,000 permanent source of springs water in the Shivaliks and foothills and the lower Himalayas dried up. Middle Himalayan villages, foothills Shivalik villages, always established on the source of water. And now, these water sources have dried up. Now there is an acute crisis of water. Also, the rainfall, not only mountain, even its experience in the plain. Maybe you might have heard from your parents, grandparents, Chaumasa, 4 months. 4 months, Asad, Sawan, Bhadon, Kuar. Chaumasa, 4 raining months. Friends, today is hardly 2 or 3 raining months. And even the intensity of rainfall has decreased. Therefore, number of rivers are drawing. Even in the headwater regions are drawing. Glacial recession, loss of biodiversity, deforestation. There are so many conditions which have either natural or anthropogenic. And you can see directly, indirectly, there's a dominance of the anthropogenic activities. Also natural, making Himalayas more fragile and more vulnerable. Friends, these ecosystem services, mainly mountain ecosystem services, I would like to tell you, as I told you in the beginning, I have taken 2 names, A.D. Kandole, 1786, and Vladimir Koppen, 1891. These scientists who were the climatologist, the botanist, they had classified that. I can see in India, the tropical region, even up to 1,000-meter high altitude on the Himalaya, we find the tropical vegetation, tropical climate. But when we come to the 2,000-meter, it becomes subtropical climate. It will cool, subtropical vegetation. Over 3,000-meter, it becomes temperate, cool temperate, cold temperate, and alpine. Then beyond this, we find glacier. So whether it is tropical or subtropical or temperate or alpine, all these ecosystems being badly affected either by tourism or by horticulture, urbanization, timber destruction, extraction of wood, and deforestation. Mass scale degradation, natural vegetation have degraded. And you know, what is the economic value of Devdar? These are all Devdar. One Devdar of more than 300 years of the maturity is more than 50 lakh rupees price. 50 lakh, one tree. So you can imagine the immense economic importance of the forest. So these climate change and climate variability, both, I repeat, climate change and the climate variability have done big impact on the mountain. It had changed the meteorological parameters, glacial retreat, have checked, disturbed the hydrological regime, changed the cropping pattern, big impact on agriculture, also changes in animal behavior, changes in honeybees and bird population, increased the intensification of the crops, and the impact of the pastoral activities. Friends, one unique example, all the colleagues, I'd like to mention to you my personal experience that climate variability, climate change, best example is the Himalaya. Himalayan apple orchards moving high altitudes last 50 years. Friends, it was George Bannon, who brought first apple plant in Kulu district in Manali areas. Bannon, there are Bannon resorts, Bannon orchards is the name, is the legendary name. When the Bannon started apple orcharding in Himalaya, it was, the highest altitude was 1,500 meters. Means 50 years back, there was plenty of snowfall at the height of 1,500 meters. Good quality of apples were grown at the height of 1,500 meters. And today, we go to the Jammu Kashmir, Himachal, in Manali area itself, Solang village, Burwa village, Vasisht village, Bhang village, Palchan village, these villages which are height of 3,000 meters, 3,500 meters in the valley of the rivers like River Satluj, Pangi areas. Apple are in the Bharmar district. The Puh, Bharmar, these areas, apple are being grown at the height of 3,500 meters. You can imagine the best quality of apple which was grown at 1,500 meters, now going to 3,500 meters. This is the best example of the climate change on the mountain. All these changes has brought genetic diversity in the plant, genetic diversity in the livestock, genetic diversity in the forest species, aquatic diversity, soil microbiological diversity, and number of schemes, responsibility from government to the NGOs, to the society, to the local. Now, from global to local, it's called glocal. Now, it is the global initiative to sustain the Himalaya, to renaturalize the Himalaya, to maintain the water, soil, forest of the Himalaya. And see the kind of watershed management. You must have heard about watershed management, social forestry called joint forest management. Friends, watershed management and joint forest management now has become a tool in the conservation, renaturalization, ecological restoration. That's the most important term, ecological restoration of the Himalaya. Friends, local initiative, government initiative, GB Pant, I hope everyone must have heard. GB Pant Institute of Himalayan Environment and Development. And Government of India, Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change had started the initiative of the Sustainable Himalayan Environment, a global project, Sustainable Himalayan Environment, because it is important to sustain the Himalaya, to have biodiversity, sustain the Himalaya, have traditional knowledge, sustain the Himalaya, have water, fresh air, fresh resources, all the way coming from the Himalaya. And all these institutional organizations, institutionalization, public institution, private institution, community institution, and personal institution, all these are now engaged in adopting the best practices. Best practice, green tourism. Best practice, responsible citizen. Best practice, development without destruction of the mountain region. Friends, with these words, I would like to thank you, and most welcome. If you have any question, I will be happy.
सर थैंक यू सो मच सर कुछ क्वेश्चंस हैं पार्टिसिपेंट्स के साइड से कैन आई आस्क
Sure.
या Purovinath wants to know what about the destructions caused to the Himalayan ecosystem in the name of development. Please give your viewpoint.
Yeah, the most important destruction is the tourism-based urbanization. Tourism-based urbanization and uncontrolled haphazard urbanization. See, I'm not against the tourism. Tourism must be there. I'm not against urbanization. It must be there, but in a controlled manner. These development must be under the command of the carrying capacity. If you accommodate more number of people, system will collapse. Similarly, looking the carrying capacity of the Himalayan ecosystem, the footprint ecology, the footprints must be only according to the sustainability. More and more construction, rapid deforestation, change in the land use, these are creating local climate change, local climatic variability. And therefore, these developments are destruction. These developments are destructions. Development should be there, but all the development should be under control. And friends, I'd like to mention the point. This was the reason that 1976, because over increasing destruction of the mountain throughout the 20th century, particularly more in the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th century of the 20th century, it was Government of India, Ministry of Environment, Forest brought EIA, Environmental Impact Assessment. Friends, now you must be knowing that no project can be allowed without environmental impact assessment. Therefore, the development with destruction is always hazardous. I hope you agree. Next question.
Yes, sir. Sure. Pankaj Gagoi wants to know, is tourism is boon or bane for the ecological sustainability of Himalayan geographical diversified features?
Good. Very nice. Gogoiji, tourism is the essential source of economic development, whether it is Goa or Switzerland. Tourism is more easy economic asset, but tourism must be controlled according to the ecological carrying capacity. See, to the example of Switzerland, over 100 years, there is a tourism development in Switzerland, and over 100 years, there is a zero negative impact because it is always done according to the carrying capacity. Only those number of people are allowed to go to the Swiss Alps to see the Matterhorn. But here in Manali, 1 lakh people coming in one day. There was only 2 hotels in Manali in 1984. Only 2 hotels in 1984. And now more than 1,400 hotels in 2001. Can you imagine what is the haphazard growth of the tourism? Everything has become vain. So, tourism is an opportunity, but uncontrolled tourism is a threat. Friends, controlled tourism will be an opportunity, both for the tourist, also for the local. But uncontrolled tourism will lead to the deforestation, loss of biodiversity, massive land use change. Land cover change is the root cause of the global warming, climate change. Land use change is the climate change. Climate change directly related to the land use change. I hope you might have not heard urban heat island. 50 years back, 2-3 decades back, there was no term for the urban heat island. And today, whether it is Delhi or Mumbai or Chennai, Hyderabad, any city, anywhere, every city today suffering from the urban heat island. And Delhi is worst. So it has come. If there is uncontrolled tourism, it will be. I hope you find your answer.
Yes, sir.
Another question.
Please.
Another question from one participant, Purvinath. Sir, what about the destructions caused to the Himalaya
Sir, I have already
ecosystem?
asked this. Sir, I have already asked this.
Pratima Das, if there is any positive change in the Himalaya mountains due to lockdown and no tourists this day?
Yes.
Yes, definitely. As a, definitely because of the lockdown, there was a break, the complete break on the tourism. It was even in the high altitude region of the mountain of the Himalaya, there were no tourism. And this was the reason that from Roorkee, you can see the snow peaks of the Himalaya. From Punjab, Jalandhar, Ludhiana, you can see the Chaukhamba peak. So the quality of air, quality of water have definitely improved due to lockdown. But I would like to tell you that if you control the number of tourists and if you control the tourism behavior, and the most important is tourism behavior. I'd like to share my own experience, and I was surprised. In 1998, I was concluding my PhD, and the last visit I had done on the Rohtang Pass in the month of July. Friends, there were no place on the Rohtang Pass, no place where you can see the clean ground. Everywhere, either it was filled up with the uncle chips, plastic wafers, uncle chips, and empty bottles of the beer and cane. My goodness, such a big mounds of dust spilled on the Rohtang. People are carrying uncle chips and beer from Delhi to Rohtang Pass. They do not get tired. But as soon as it becomes empty, they finish. They throw the same place. Very unfortunate, very bad practice. Friends, they have to choose the best practice, not bad practice. This way, the cleaning of the mountain environment may be continuous if you control the checks, the number of tourists, and control their behavior. Every citizen, responsible citizen. Then this mountain will remain neat and clean, like Switzerland,
Yes, ma'am.
like New Zealand. Yes.
Another question is,
Yes, ma'am.
despite having all sorts of resources, why do you think that people from Himalayas need to migrate to cities to earn their livelihood?
Yes.
Dr. Kumar Vaishnav wants to know.
Yeah. Kumarji, the migration of the people is mainly from those areas which are having least level of livelihood, sustainability. Very good question. I would like to give you certain examples. Migration from where? Migration from those places where the means of livelihood, there is more marginality, there is more inaccessibility. So people living in the limited resources and they too attracted by the other places. For example, we compare the two states. One state is Himachal Pradesh and the neighboring state Uttarakhand. Himachal Pradesh, because they have explored their potentiality, they have explored their soil and climate, they have developed such a rich horticulture that no people of the Himachal Pradesh wants to get settled in Delhi, Mumbai. No, they want to go back to the Himachal Pradesh. They feel happy because they have plenty of resources for economic development and social development. But on another hand, people of Uttarakhand, because Uttarakhand, and particularly Uttarakhand, if you compare Kumaon and Garhwal, so Garhwal having more vertical mountain as compared to Kumaon. Kumaon have more slope, gentle slope, where the construction of roads, construction of buildings will very easy, people sustain themselves. But where the mountains have steep slope, then economic development is not possible. So people migrate from those areas where there is extreme geomorphic, extreme climatic conditions. See, the Kashmir Valley, Lahore Valley, Spiti Valley, Kullu Valley, Champa Valley, Pangi Valley. These valleys are so rich. And friends, believe me, people of these valleys, they never want to go outside their valley. They don't want to migrate. But the people of the Garhwal always migrate. And it's a big say in Garhwal, right from the history of the Garhwal. Garhwal का पानी, Garhwal की जवानी कभी Garhwal के काम नहीं आया है. The soil, water, and youth of the Garhwal, they never serve Garhwal. Because of steep slope, they are forced to migrate. But other places where the resources are there, they do not migrate. Friends, it is not common to say that people of mountain, they migrate to the plain. Yes, they do migrate only from those areas which have extreme slope, where economic development is not possible. Where economic development is possible, people stay there. Okay?
Thank you so much, sir. Sir, there are a lot of questions from participant side, but we have some time constraint. So, sir, thank you so much, sir, for providing important information on Himalayan geographical unique features. I hope participants benefited from your explanation very much. So, as your talk is very nicely. Thank you so much, sir, once again for accepting our invitation, and we hope we are associated in future also. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much.
आशीष लाइव बंद करो।